One day I was coming from work in the morning after a night shift. I was in Germiston and rushing to Joburg in half an hour for some very important appointment that I had. Now I'm rushing for a train and the train is already on the platform ready to leave. Since it was on Sunday, trains only goes after 1 hour, which means if this one leaves me, I will be at least 1 hour late for that appointment. Now I'm rushing as fast as I could to catch this train. If it leaves me, it is done. I can't imagine losing such a beautiful opportunity, I thought. Therefore, I must run. I ran and I ran. I checked in as quickly as it was humanly possible and proceeded to the train, and as I proceed, it started to move. I ran faster, but it began to move faster. I started shouting and waving. Maybe a driver will see me and be gracious to me and stop, but I doubt he even noticed, let alone cared. Faster I ran towards this one coach which was about to close its doors, and now the train is going. It is leaving me behind. It shatters all my hopes for what awaits me in Joburg. No, I will not let it happen. I said to myself I will run faster and grab on the rod that stands between the two doors of the train, and the doors were starting to close, but I was going to be fast and pull myself with my strength. To Joburg I go, I thought. Indeed, I was fast enough to grab on that silver rod that stands between the two doors of the train, but too slow for the doors to make it inside. Now the train has picked up a huge amount of pace, and as it leaves the platform, my hands are inside and holding fast on the rod, but my whole body is outside and my feet have already failed to keep up with the pace of the running machine. They are dragging on the platform and soon they will be dragging on the railway line. I'm about to be crushed by aggregate stones on the railway line, or slammed against some pole alongside the railway, or who knows, even be hit by an oncoming train if space between them permits. If I let go to the rod, or if I let go of the rod, my fate is sure. The rushing wind caused by the train will squeeze me inside or under the train, and it will devour me and swallow me in a matter of seconds. At this stage, I don't even think anything called Joburg ever crossed my mind, let alone a waiting opportunity that seemed to be waiting for nothing but a message that says, "We are sorry, but he who desired to meet with you perished on his way to you, and his remains are stuck between a railway iron tracks and iron wheels somewhere in Germiston." A message to which they will certainly nod their heads in some professional mourning style. Picking up their bags, off they go to render the same opportunity to someone else, while their hearts say, "We didn't even know him that well anyway. May his soul rest in peace." Peace which they don't even know, nor wish to know, let alone being assured if it even exists. A stunned reality was facing me, even staring at me in the eyes. I'm about to meet he whom I've always rejected and mocked. If I say I prayed, I'll be deceiving you. I knew no one to pray to. I simply stared face to face with death, fearing for my soul soon to demise. All of a sudden, the doors of the train that pinched my wrist together and separated me from life, hope, and comfort inside began to move. I'm still holding on the rod, my only hope. Then a hand grabbed my clothes and began to pull me inside the train. All of a sudden, there was a couple of hands grabbing as if they all fight for an opportunity to play a role in this project of saving a soul. The next thing, I was inside a train surrounded by a number of sad faces who have just saved my life, were coming from all walks of life. They did not know me, neither did I know them. They all started to shout, screaming, trying to speak reasons to me and giving me a quick lecture on how to wait for a following train. At this stage, the train was running full speed, and Johannesburg, that became so meaningless to me, was fast approaching. Later, I stood, nodded my head on everyone in a very weak but very well-meaning gesture of thanksgiving, and almost below my normal tone, I said, "You people are good Samaritans." As tears that I could not control for any price ran down without any end on my usually brave face that have always covered my weak and desperate heart. Now, let me cut the long story short. The opportunity I was rushing for in Joburg turned out to be false, and nothing from it eventuated. And somehow I got to hook up with at least 3 of my good Samaritans who saved my life that day years later. And one of my good Samaritans' name was Tato, originally from Rustenburg. Tato was actually a truck driver who on that day was coming back from sleeping over at his side chick's house in Germiston and was going back to his wife's house in Soweto. Another one was Sihle. Sihle happened to be my homeboy from KZN at Umsinga. He was working for some taxi bosses as a hitman. The last one was a Zimbabwean fellow. His name was Jimmy. Jimmy was a former teacher in Zimbabwe who fled from his country after being accused of raping a child he taught. Here he was on his way to meet a gang that he worked with, whose work was to rob big shops and rich families all around Joburg. If these were good Samaritans indeed, then good Samaritans are not good enough. But if these guys were not good Samaritans, then there is no good Samaritans at all. Because a good Samaritan should do good at all times to all people in all things. And today I stand to attest also myself that somewhere I might be called a good Samaritan myself, but a very wicked fellow perhaps somewhere. What hope do I have then to see him who is the epitome of all holiness, who says to me that I must seek after peace with all men and true holiness, without which no man will see him, who tells me, a wretched sinner that I am, that I must be holy as he is holy. What hope do I have if not in him who is merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and in truth? What hope do I have? There is one hope that I have, and my hope is in his righteousness. It is his grace. It is in his mercy, who is willing to show mercy to me, who is willing to be gracious to me, who is merciful and gracious, who is long-suffering and abundant in goodness and in truth. My hope is in Jesus. Only Jesus is a true good Samaritan, and his righteousness imparted to me is all I need, because there is no good Samaritan. I cannot be good enough for his heaven, but he has been good for me. As blood is thicker than water, so is truth mightier than lies. Therefore, allow me here to present to you nothing but the truth.